This is TWiT.
I was laughing because it never really occurred to me to compare this to the Mac Pro, but a whole bunch of people's response to this tube of gaming excellence is that didn't Apple just walk away from this form factor and admit it was a mistake?
It's funny. Yes. And even though that in so many ways, this type of design actually does work extremely well for thermals and noise because you can have a low speed fan at the top because it uses natural convection to a certain extent. But yeah, Apple, they're saying that they can't continue to use this form factor to do what they want to do, but they're also heavily invested in AMD like professional graphics, which, you know, they're excellent, especially for what Apple wants from them, but they tend to take more power and generate more heat than NVIDIA solutions. So this particular unit is using a GTX 1080. So they have less of a thermal footprint to worry about from the GPU, but they do design this differently. I've seen the complete teardown of this, which Ken did not do for this review. He kind of did an overview and performance review of this, not like a teardown, void the warranty, destroy the machine type thing. It's very, very tightly packed inside of this too.
The tech report did that, the teardown. It's a little terrifying when you realize just exactly how densely packed that thing is inside.
Right, because this is using mostly standardized parts. Whereas the Apple Mac Pro is completely custom. You have just the GPU PCBs, and everything is mounted with a custom motherboard to, you know, 3 sides of a large heat sink that's kind of triangular in its cross section. And this is just like a stack of components layered inside of a device that is actually a little bit larger than the footprint of the Dan Case's case. I know that you and Ryan talked about that recently. I reviewed that last month. And that is 7.25 liters that holds a complete Mini-ITX gaming system with a full-size GPU. So this thing is 12, a little bit larger, but it is something that you can easily get your hands on and is a complete system that's already configured by Corsair.
You know, 1080p, GTX 1080p, performance was as expected. You know, it's a $2,200 system, basically like $1,900 of components and a $300 VIG, you know, for the case, the technical support, you know, the Corsair style on that one. You know, a single point of contact if anything goes wrong is one of the things that gets pointed out in the review. Ken points out in the review. Because if you've ever had to go to like 3 different vendors because things are exploded on your PC, you can understand why occasionally just buying a pre-built machine can be such a nice thing. You know, gaming's workable. It's a nice, you know. Were you shocked when Corsair decided to build their own PCs? I did not expect that.
I wasn't shocked. It was a little surprising, but if you look at how the company has expanded over the years into different components, I think they started with just memory, right? And then into storage, which makes sense, and then into peripherals and other accessories, and they started working on their own branded line of GPUs, and at that point, it's just a matter of time, it seemed, until they had some sort of either a larger presence within PC hardware or, you know, a pre-built computer, which is, it's interesting. They're obviously competing in a very large space here with some huge established brands. And the cost, when they did the cost breakdown and Ken narrowed it down to about $1,900 worth of components, it's not too bad. Like I was expecting more of a markup than this, considering the unique form factor in the case. So about $300 for the premium on this isn't too bad to me. I mean, you do lose a lot of flexibility from a standard computer build because they only allow you to access just so much You really can't open the thing up without voiding the warranty.
Which means you're never going to upgrade your motherboard.
Correct. Yeah. And as far as I know, it's a custom design anyhow.
Probably not on your short list, or something you would be tempted to buy if you had the money floating around.
If I had the money, if I had around $2,500 as a budget for a gaming PC and I didn't want to bother with it, if you look at what else is out there, it seems that gaming, when you're looking at an Alienware system, even though their newest, like the Aurora desktop series, went to a smaller form factor, it's more of not even a mini tower, it's just a compact, like a micro ATX size tower, like they're really old, like Optiplex and Dimension work desktops. Still, this is half of that size. So if it was just put it on the back of the desk and have a big gaming monitor, especially now where, with a small child, I would never want a big gaming PC on the floor. So to get something up on a desktop that's really small is very attractive to me. I like the idea of those Mac Pro desktops, but they don't have the power for what I'd want to do with them, and I couldn't really game on them. So this is like the gamer's alternative to that. We've seen some companies try this before. I want to say it's MSI that had the Vortex, which was compared to the Mac Pro design as well, kind of a tube. I saw that at CES in 2016. Similar idea.
I don't think I ever actually saw one of those in the wild ever, other than at CES.
Yeah, exactly. It was impressive, but it was a lot more expensive too. But they loaded those down. Like RAID, multi SSD RAID, and a lot of additional features. And I think it was well over $2,000. So
it also unfortunately looked a lot like a space garbage can.
Kind of, yeah. I don't mind the look of this one. I look at these things and it's kind of like the size of the external GPU enclosures that we first started to see, and now we're getting entire computers in them. So
there are worse things.
It's the beauty of the SFX form factor for power supplies, I guess.
Well, having built a bunch of Mini-ITX boxes, I don't know how beauteous I feel about some of the power limitations on that, but that might just be me.